Jump back to the 3-year-olds, the Jim Dandy on Saturday at Saratoga, only a field of 5. And really, it's just, I understand maybe this is just complaining, but I know other people have mentioned the same sort of thing on Twitter. The idea that you have a 3-year-old restricted race on Friday, and then you have a graded stakes race for 3-year-olds on Saturday, when you could have just one really big, good, strong race, and you know that there's a grade 1 down on the Jersey Shore happening the next day. I just don't really understand the placement of the Curlin, but that's neither here nor there. This field for the Jim Dandy was not littered with superstars. You had Tenfold, who looked like he could be an up-and-coming 3-year-old, possibly one that you'd have to deal with down here for the final half of this 3-year-old campaign. You had a horse like Vino Rosso, where it feels like if he ever puts it all together, he's going to be a racehorse. But was Saturday going to be the day that he put it together or not? And Flame Away, a horse who has probably a tactical advantage over most of his competitors in this spot, but the question came down to quality as well as distance. Ultimately, we got I don't know if it was a good stretch run, but we got an interesting one. Certainly. I think that's the safest way to put it. An interesting stretch run. Here's Larry Colmus with the stretch call of the Jim Dandy.
Put to a drive by Jose Ortiz as Tenfold ranges up alongside. Re-Ride is trying to get involved too. Vino Rosso still well behind as they come to the final furlong, and Tenfold takes charge. Ricardo Santana Jr. and Tenfold have taken the lead, moving away from Flame Away. Vino Rosso kicking it in late. Tenfold is bearing out through the stretch, but Tenfold will win the Jim Dandy.
Tenfold prevails after taking a right-hand turn. Deep in stretch, he gets the job done at odds of 8-5. The runner-up is Flame Away, the pace setter. He finishes second at 7-2, and Vino Rosso from the back of the pack finishes third at odds of 6-5. Re-Ride and Sporting Chance round out your field. Let's talk about Tenfold. 3 of 6 lifetime, over $679,000 in career earnings. Owned and bred by Winchell Thoroughbreds LLC in Kentucky. Trained by Steve Asmussen. Ridden to victory by Ricardo Santana Jr. You see the pedigree at the bottom of the horse card. He's by Curlin out of a Tappet mare named Temptress. 93 buyers for each of the top 3 runners. Tenfold, Flame Away, Vino Rosso, all exiting the Jim Dandy. When you look and see the final eighths that these horses ran, the winner, Tenfold, 13.54. Flame Away, 13.58. Vino Rosso, 12.58. It's a tale of, let's just say, at least 2 different sort of situations. The top 2 were 1-2 throughout the majority of the running. Tenfold looped up. Flame Away was in deep water for a long time. The fact that he only lost by 3/4 of a length is 2 things. Flame Away likes to battle, but also it helps when Tenfold loses his mind there for a minute and takes a right-hand turn. Santana, after the race, said he got a little bit scared by the infield television monitor. Steve Asmussen said it's clearly a concern. This is also a horse, and Asmussen very astutely pointed it out, that in his races prior, he has popped back to his left lead and lugged in a little bit, so he still hasn't put it all together just yet. He's only raced 6 times, so maybe you want to give him the benefit of the doubt. For Flame Away, I think really ultimately it came down to the 2 things that were questioned going in: quality and distance. I don't think he wants a mile and an eighth, and I also don't know that he's quite as good as some of these better horses. Tenfold, I think you can still iron it out. He is in as good hands as you're going to find with Asmussen, and I think Ricardo Santana is one of the better riders that many people haven't given the credit he deserves. Tenfold, I think, can move forward, but even Asmussen said it. He goes, he's going to have to move forward if he's going to be ready for a race like the Travers here in 3 or 4 weeks. The enigma of this whole race to me, it's not that Tenfold took a right-hand turn. It's not anything like that. It's Vino Rosso. Vino Rosso continues to be a horse that doesn't make any sense. He finishes in 12-2, almost 12-3. That's a legitimate. He's rolling at the end of the race. The problem is he doesn't run on the turns, really, for one reason or another, and the only time he really has was in the Wood Memorial and was at the Belmont Stakes. In the Belmont, you understand, at Belmont Park, you've got those giant turns, and the Wood doesn't look like he really beat anything in there. I understand. I had some interactions with some folks on Twitter after the race because I tweeted something along the lines of, I don't know if he's ever going to figure this thing out. And many people pointed to this being a perfect prep. Take him back, make that one run. He's going to be ready for the 1.25 miles. Very well may be the case. I would just encourage folks to go back and watch the head-on as they go down the backstretch. And John Velasquez has to get the bat out and hit him on the shoulder, basically to give him a wake-up call and say, hey, we're racing. We're not just out here for a jog in the morning. He hits him on the shoulder, about halfway down the backstretch because he's being outpaced. He's being totally outrun. On the far turn, he's not even in the picture. And it's not like they were going that fast. 47 for the half and 11 and 4 for 3/4. It's honest. It's not fast. And then all of a sudden, deep in stretch, he turns it on. And initially, I thought it was a little bit of an optical illusion that the other horses were slowing down so drastically that it looked like he was making up ground. But when you go into Formulator, and again, he came home in 12-2. It's not like he was running at the end. This is a horse that still doesn't know what he's doing. And I don't know what you can do for him at this point. Pletcher has played with the blinkers. They've tried to change running styles with him. Todd said, I believe it was this morning, so this is being recorded on Monday, that he's just kind of a quirky horse. That's accurate. And I don't. There's no blame to be pinned on anyone. The horse is just kind of dopey. If he ever puts it together, he's going to be serious, where he runs a complete race. I'm not sure he's run a complete race in his career, which is stunning, really, when you think about it. Here we are in August of his 3-year-old year. He's run a number of times. He's run in multiple grade ones. He still hasn't run a complete race. Even the Wood Memorial, I'm not going to pin as a complete race. He probably just won because he was just more talented than everyone else. If he runs a complete race in the Travers, he absolutely can win. Do I want to find out at a shortish price if that's going to be the day? And it's the same thing I said about the Derby. And it's the same thing I said about the Belmont. I'm going to say it again about the Travers. Do I want to just bet and hope that today's the day that he figures it all out? No. No, I don't. Until he does it, I'm going to decide that he's just going to continue to do these things. Now, maybe they'll do something to change his running style or what, but until they do, Vino Rosso is just not, he hasn't run a complete race. I suppose the only other thing that you need to take out of this, especially when you consider how the Haskell was run, how the Curlin on Friday was run up at the Spa, from a figure standpoint, this race came back light. 93 buyer. This is not, I understand it's a prep. It's a means to an end to get to the Travers, but this is not a fast group right here. These boys are going to need to step their game up considerably if they're going to be legitimate threats in the Travers at the end of August. If they don't, you're looking at minor awards at best. As of today, I'm skeptical of the Jim Dandy. We'll wait and see how things continue to shake down, who's going to go, if there are defections from the race for the Travers, the probables. But at this point right now, to me, the Jim Dandy right now is a major sort of question mark and a bit of a red flag because of what we saw from Tenfold at the end, from what we continue to see from Vino Rosso, and the fact that Flame Away is not going to the Travers. So to me, this is going to be one that you're going to have to wait and see. But as of right now, I'm looking at this race as a little bit of a red flag. Nonetheless, Tenfold does prevail, albeit with a little bit of an adventure at the very end. He gets the job done in the Grade 2 Jim Dandy with a 93 buyer speed figure.